one. So we've been getting a lot of reports lately, primarily from The Athletic, that Zach Lavine and the Chicago Bulls just aren't seeing eye to eye, that they are really having issues with the organization and Zach Lavine. And it's very likely that they are looking at a separation sooner rather than later. We're getting more and more reports coming in that Zach Lavine's time with the Chicago Bulls could very likely be coming to an end. Chicago's not in the position that they had hoped to be at this point of the season. We could be looking at a full-blown rebuild at this time. Now, Zach Lavine is in a very interesting situation. Now, obviously, he just signed a new contract. He wouldn't be available till January 15th. That's when teams could go and pursue him. But there is a real question to be asked of, like, where would he land? Like, with his injury history and just kind of the issues he's had pretty much everywhere he's gone, how many teams are looking to just unload everything they have to go get and acquire, say, a Zach Lavine? How many teams are looking at it and going, man, Zach Lavine is the piece we need to really take us over the top? I don't think there's very many teams that Chicago could really unload Zach Lavine to, right? He's kind of that specific player. Now, I do think a team like the New York Knicks, and there's even been reports that the Knicks would offer a Godfather-like package for a Zach Lavine. I do think the Knicks would get involved, especially after what they were trying to do with the Donovan Mitchell. I think Zach Lavine they might look at as like, oh, okay, like that's the next best thing, right? And have Brunson and Lavine, especially with the way that they've been playing. But what are they going to be willing to give up that would make sense for a team like Chicago? Are they going to give up like an RJ Barrett, something along those lines? Not just that, but the Knicks are actually playing really good basketball right now, right? And they're on this like win streak. And does Chicago want to take on like a long-term salary? That's another thing too. Are they willing to take on like a Julius Randle or like an Evan Fournier or something like that just to like make salaries match and stuff? If they do take on, say they don't trade Barrett, but they trade like all the young guys, right? You're going to need to take on some long-term salary. Although the Knicks do have a ton of draft picks. But it also comes down to, what does Lavine want? Now, we are in a very player movement type of league, right? And look, we already saw the Nets tell Kevin Durant, hey, we're not trading you, but that was also a very different scenario. Would Chicago be willing to do that? And Zach Lavine, is he a guy that would just kind of blow things up in Chicago and just kind of make things difficult? Kevin Durant, you knew he wasn't really going to do that. Zach Lavine, on the other hand, we've seen him kind of make things messy in the past, and I could see him kind of making things difficult for Chicago. And there are now reports that Zach Lavine may potentially want to go to the Lakers, which make a lot of sense. So as you can see here, Zach Lavine trade rumors. NBA exec believes Bulls Star wants to go to the Lakers. An Eastern Conference executive told Heavy.com, Sean Devaney, a full rebuild kind of thing. That is not going to happen this year, but they could get it started. They could get started on it. They're not going to trade away Zach Lavine during the season. They will have an easier time with moving on from DeMar DeRozan if that were they go. But even that, it is something they would wait until the summer to do rather than try to pull off a move at the deadline. It's also followed up that Lavine wants to go to the Lakers. That has been pretty clear for a while now. The agent, he's part of Clutch Sports, wants him to be in Los Angeles. He is a UCLA guy, and they did some rattling about his contract last offseason to kind of lay the groundwork if things blew up, which they seem to be doing. So again, Chicago very likely at some point is going to blow it up. Now, this doesn't mean that they will do it this season around the trade deadline, but you never know. Could end up happening. And from a Lakers standpoint, this is kind of concerning for me because personally, look, if I'm being honest, I would rather see the Lakers go and get depth and get some pieces that make sense right now for this team to try to go on a run now. But if Zach Lavine is really willing to come to the Lakers and he really wants to try to force his way to the Lakers, then, I mean, that's a Laker move, right? The Lakers will wait. The Lakers will keep their assets. The Lakers will do what they can to go get a guy like Zach Lavine because they'll look at it as like Zach Lavine, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. LeBron, if he leaves, at least we have Zach Lavine and Anthony Davis for the future. Like this, like the Lakers love to star chase. They love to go big game hunting, and this is big game hunting. Now, personally, I still think DeMar DeRozan is more likely than Zach Lavine. I don't see many teams, if at all, trying to trade for DeMar. I mean, because what team wants his contract with his age? Not that his contract is bad, if I'm being honest. His contract is actually pretty reasonable, but like how many teams are looking at DeMar and going, man, he's the missing piece with his age? Maybe Phoenix, but like who are they giving up? And would that work? It's just, again, and would Chicago take on long-term salary to get a draft pick or something? Or would they prefer a trade like the Lakers where they take on, basically no salary and they get future picks? Yes, the picks don't help right now, but maybe you can make some moves. You are Chicago. Players want to go to Chicago, play for the Bulls. It's a historic franchise. They've gotten free agents, stuff like that in the past. So they could work it out to where, maybe they could get a deal done. Maybe you do the big trade to the Knicks for all their assets for Zach Lavine, and then you trade DeMar DeRozan to the Lakers. That is something I could see happening. But look, if you had your pick between the two, you're probably taking Lavine, right? Lavine makes more sense to take. So here's the thing though too, is that if they don't want to move off of these guys till next season, you're probably not getting either, right? Because unless Chicago wants to sign and trade, but why would they want Russell Westbrook, right? So unless it happens now, like if this happens next season, that's it. Like the Lakers wouldn't be able to get these guys because they wouldn't have the salaries to then go and get those guys. So unless this happens this season, I don't see the Lakers getting either of these guys. But you keep hearing these talks, you keep hearing these rumors coming up, and it's happening a lot. Now, part of that is probably it's just the Lakers, right? It's the Lakers, and it's, a star player. That's usually how it works. But there was a lot of talk of Zach Lavine really wanted to go to the Lakers in the offseason. There was, even the exec says, they laid that groundwork in the offseason. That if things go bad, he wants to go to the Lakers. DeMar DeRozan, too, probably would want to go to the Lakers. So do you trade both of them to the Lakers? Like, I know that might sound crazy, but if teams aren't willing to again, how many teams are willing to go after Zach Lavine? If teams aren't lining up to get Zach Lavine, which I don't think teams are going to line up to get DeMar DeRozan. So if teams aren't lining up to get Zach Lavine, then do you want to take on a bad deal and maybe you might get some assets, but would you rather do that or would you rather tank, try to go get your top two, because they have top protected picks. So if maybe you go get those picks, you're just really bad for 2 years. Hopefully you can keep your pick from Orlando and then maybe trade Vu, maybe trade, Caruso and Lonzo and all of them and get whatever you can for those guys. Use the Lakers as a salary dump to unload both of these guys to the Lakers, get both of their first round picks. Now you got those 2 picks for the future. Hopefully you can cash in on your picks this year and next year. And now you're in a position to rebuild. That is something that they could do. I mean, it's a possibility. Is that likely? Probably not, but it's at least worth mentioning. It's something to definitely keep an eye out. And we are in a very player power driven league, right? And if Zach Lavine wants to go to the Lakers and he makes it very clear and he kind of turns other teams off, even the Knicks, like even if the Knicks want to make a trade for him, if he tells the Knicks, like, if you trade for me, like, I'm going to sit out or, I'll pull a Vince Carter or something like that. And then you're going to have to trade me to the Lakers. Look, players can do a lot, right? Like if Zach Lavine wants to go to the Lakers and nobody else, then he probably goes to the Lakers and nobody else, right? And that was the difference with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant wasn't willing to do that. Kevin Durant didn't care. He didn't want to get traded to some, random team. He didn't want to get traded to like Detroit or something like that. But, if he could get traded to, he's like, hey, here's several teams, trade me to any of these contenders. Basically he gave him a list of 7 teams. Like he had his preferred teams, like the Suns, teams like that. But for the most part, he was like, hey, whatever you could get for me, that you can send me to a contender, I'm game for, right? If Zach Lavine's like, I'm not going anywhere except for the Lakers. And if you trade for me, I'm going to tell those teams that I won't play or whatever, I'll sit out or whatever, then that could cause some problems. That could cause some drama. Although, again, I do think DeMar DeRozan is the more realistic. Like, if they decide to blow it up, and maybe they will, because, look, there seems to be drama with DeMar and Lavine. So maybe the way that they try to salvage the relationship is by moving off of DeMar. Maybe that is the trick. Maybe they move off of DeMar DeRozan and they move off of Vu and kind of rebuild around Zach Lavine and say, hey, play with Russ so far this year. If it doesn't, it doesn't work out, fine, no big deal. If it does work out, great. Then maybe we could re-sign Russ, and then you and Russ could be our backcourt. We'll go kind of build around you guys. Maybe they go that route. I don't know. I really don't know. They say that they don't want Russ and 2 first-round picks, but things change really quickly. I mean, we've seen this league. We've seen organizations say one thing, and then days later, sometimes the same day, the complete opposite happens. And it's like, I thought you said earlier you didn't want this. So, again, I don't think it's likely, especially Lavine. But if he wants to go to the Lakers, it's a player-driven league right now, and he could very well force his way to the Lakers. Obviously, if you're the Lakers, you're taking Zach Lavine. Again, I would rather them go the depth route and get, several guys. But one, this is a move the Lakers are going to do. Come on. If they have a chance to get Zach Lavine, they're going to go get Zach Lavine. Secondly, you can make an argument that he solves a lot of the issues that the Lakers really need, and he's a piece that could really help post LeBron. And then when LeBron decides to leave, you basically just have Lavine and Davis to hold on to, and now you're rebuilding around those two guys. That could be something. This is a Laker move for sure. If this really turns into something legit, then the Lakers are going to go get Zach Lavine. And if Zach Lavine wants to be a Laker, he'll end up being a Laker. But personally, I think it's more likely DeMar DeRozan. I wouldn't be shocked at all if DeMar DeRozan is a Laker by the trade deadline. I really wouldn't. I don't think Chicago wants to blow it up, but if things keep being in this negative light and the reports are true that DeMar DeRozan and Zach Lavine are just not on the same page, that they're not really liking each other, you're not getting rid of Zach Lavine before you get rid of DeMar DeRozan. So if you're Chicago, you're trading DeMar DeRozan and whatever else you have to try to keep Lavine around. That's just what you're doing. So the Lakers might just kind of luck into DeMar DeRozan just because it doesn't work. But again, that's something that the Lakers would do. That's a move the Lakers would make. But again, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Would you want them to do this? Would you not? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, let me know down in the comment section below.